There is no doubt, and it is a general consensus even among the fathers of the church, that among the disciples and the apostles in particular, no one loved Jesus Christ more than St. Peter. And perhaps there is a sense that we could potentially say, and he knew it. And we see evidence of his great love for the Lord in today's gospel, when it is recognized that the man standing on the shore is the person of Jesus Christ, rather than accompany his fellow disciples in the boat to the shore, St. Peter flings himself into the sea. It tells you something about his great eagerness to draw close to and to be near the Lord. But as I point out from time to time, you have to love the sense of irony that we find in the sacred scriptures. Because when St. Peter reaches the shore, what's the first thing he sees? A charcoal fire. When is the other time that St. Peter saw a charcoal fire? Wasn't it the night before Jesus Christ died? Jesus Christ is in the house of Annas, being interrogated as they're preparing to deliver him over to death. And St. Peter remains outside, and because it was cold out, he was found warming himself by a charcoal fire. Now remember, before Jesus Christ was arrested, there was the Lord with his disciples, and he begins to explain to them that he would be delivered over into the hands of evil men. And you recall that St. Peter, in his great love for Jesus Christ, declared, even if everyone else abandons you, I will not. I will follow you wherever you go. I will even die for you. And how does the Lord respond? Really? And then indicates to him that before the cock crows, he will deny him. And so there is St. Peter warming himself by a charcoal fire while his Lord is inside being interrogated and prepared to be delivered over to death. And not once, and not twice, but 3 times, and on the 3rd time, with cussing and swearing, denied that he even knew who Jesus Christ was. And then the cock crowed. So when St. Peter comes out onto the shore and sees the charcoal fire, you have to think that this was a terribly humiliating and painful reminder of what took place just a couple weeks previous. But let's get to the transformation in all of these things. Let's get to the transformation that took place in the heart of St. Peter and his reconciliation to Jesus Christ. So we look at this dialogue, beautiful dialogue, between Jesus Christ and St. Peter. But, and please bear with me, this is one of those instances where it is utterly and completely unavoidable to talk about how this conversation takes place in the Greek language, because the English cannot even begin to approach to do it justice. And so to understand this dialogue, we need to bear in mind that in the Greek language there are two ways of saying I love you. You can say on the one hand, agapao, say, I love you with divine love. With the love of God, as scriptures say, that has been poured into our hearts. That love out of which we are able to say, Abba, Father. This love is known as agape, a word you already know. The second way to tell someone that you love them is phileo, say. I am deeply fond of you. This is how friends would communicate. There's a city in Pennsylvania named Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. So you see, you already knew these two words. And as my professor in Greek in the seminary used to say, Greek is fun and easy. But nonetheless, now let's look at the dialogue so that we can understand what's taking place. And so Jesus Christ, after breakfast, takes St. Peter aside, and he says to him, Peter, agapas me. Do you love me with the love with which I love you? That is divine love. And St. Peter responds, yes, Lord. Philos, I love you like a brother. And so Jesus says a second time, Peter, agapais me. Do you love me with divine love? And St. Peter responds, yes, Lord. Philos, I love you like a brother. Now, something extraordinary takes place in this conversation. We are told that now for the third time, Jesus asks St. Peter, Peter, phileis me. Do you love me like a brother? And now we get to the consternation of St. Peter. We are told he was deeply troubled by this third question. So we begin how this dialogue was introduced in the first place. Peter, do you love me more than these? I deliberately left that out so we could circle back. Do you love me more than these? Do you love me more than the other disciples? And so now we see this exchange And at the very end, St. Peter says, Lord, you know all things. What happened? What happened in the heart of St. Peter? After the humiliation of his downfall and the esteem with which he esteemed himself, he now admits in all humility that he has no idea what is taking place in other people's hearts. And so he is saying, in effect, to Jesus Christ, yes, you know I love you, but whether or not I love you more than these, and because you know all things, you be the judge. You be the judge. You see, the downfall of St. Peter, the night before Jesus Christ died, was a very, very humiliating event. Personally humiliating. And in that experience, St. Peter came to self-knowledge. He now knows who he is. He's weak. He's a man of flesh. He is made of dust, like everyone else is made of dust. Apart from Jesus Christ, he's nothing, and without Jesus Christ, he can do nothing. And what was born was this profound sense of humility, because now he knows the truth. He knows the truth. So I think that in there somewhere is a lesson for all of us, isn't there? There's a lesson for all of us. And it would begin with some questions, for reflection. Do I esteem myself more than others? For starters, do I? Do I esteem myself more than others? Especially when it comes to the practice of the Christian faith. Am I somehow better, superior to others? And let me guarantee you, in our own mind, not in fact or reality. Think back over the span of our lives at how many promises we have made, how many resolutions we have made, and have not kept good on them. Think of the countless ways each day we betray Jesus Christ by preferring our will to his own. You see, what we need is, a return, a recovery, a discovery within ourselves, authentic self-knowledge, to know who we truly are. That we are weak, that we are flesh, that we are dust and ashes. And apart from Jesus Christ, we are nothing, and apart from Jesus Christ, we can do nothing.